Hello everyone, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can make crystals at home. So this is a fun activity that anyone can do at home. All you need is jam jar, hot water, and then you will need to maybe buy some of the chemicals off eBay, but you might find you have some of them at home. So just for an example, this thing you see in front of you is what I made using some crystals that I've grown at home. So these white crystals are made with your borax, which some of you might find you have at home anyway. Its chemical name is disodium tetraborate, but I do believe you can use it. It's sometimes used in washing up or whatever, so you might find you have it at home. The purple ones are chromium potassium sulfate, which you'll probably find you don't have at home, and the blue ones are copper sulfate. And if you've done any chemistry experiments at home, you might find you have some copper sulfate because that's quite common, but if not, they're very cheap and easily available on Amazon or eBay. Now this one here is some copper sulfate crystals that I've grown, if it focuses. Okay, so this is some copper sulfate crystals that I've grown on a bit of bird skeleton, as you can see. So this is just showing you an example of what you can do with crystals, because they'll grow on pretty much anything. So once you've kind of mastered the growing crystals, you can just drop whatever object you want in there and you can watch the crystals grow off it. This is a large crystal of chromium potassium sulfate that I made. So you can see it grew lots of smaller crystals off it as well. So that I just made by using the steps that I'm going to show you in this video. So if you follow these steps, you can get a crystal like this. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is get a glass jar. It can be any size really. This is just to make the seed crystals first. So this isn't going to make our big crystals just yet. This is what we're then going to grow our big crystals off. So you're going to need a glass jar, a chemical to grow your crystals with. Now here are some that you can use that are easily available. So here's copper sulfate, which if you've never tried this before, I suggest getting some copper sulfate, because that one always works really. And it makes nice blue crystals, so that's a good one. This is chromium potassium sulfate, so this will make dark purple crystals which look very nice. And also, yeah, you can just get it on eBay really. And then this is disodium tetraborate, or otherwise known as borax, which you could have at home, and you can also use that. This just makes white crystals, so not as interesting as the other ones, but you can also use that. So what you're going to want to do, I'm going to use chromium potassium sulfate because I've almost run out of copper sulfate, but what you're going to want to do is take your powder and just, you can see it's a nice purple powder, and you just want to put a bit like that in the bottom of your jar. Okay, and then once you've done that, you want to get some hot water. I'm just going to use cold water because I don't have any hot water, so I'm just going to use cold water here. But anyway, you're going to get some hot water and pour it over the crystals, and just only start with a little bit of water first. So you just want to put a little bit in to start, and then you're going to get something you can stir them with. And you just want to keep stirring until you think as much of the crystals that are going to dissolve are going to dissolve. So just keep stirring. Could take a few minutes. So I'm using cold water, so obviously my crystals aren't really going to dissolve in this, but I'm just showing you the process they do. So if you've been stirring for a long time and you think that all of it that's going to dissolve is going to dissolve, but you can still see that there's powder on the bottom, then go ahead and add some more water, but only a little bit at a time, until all of it is dissolved. And then all you're going to do is put your pot in a cool, dry place that isn't going to get disturbed, and you're going to leave it for, say, a week or two, or sometimes not even, sometimes just a week, and you're just going to leave it, and it's slowly going to grow crystals on the bottom of the jar. The pot I had with copper sulfate in, and I put some rocks in it just for crystals to grow off some of the rocks. But this is what the bottom of your jar should look like after you've left it for about a week. And then you see all these little seeds that have started to grow on the bottom. You're going to want to use whatever you use to stir or whatever to try and poke some of these free, and then dry them on a piece of paper towel. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so now I'm going to try and pick some of the crystals out of this. First I can just knock the rocks loose that I'd put in here. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm going to go through this pile and see if I can find any good crystals to use that I can grow my big crystal off. Also remember, once you've touched the crystals, you should wash your hands, as some of these chemicals are dangerous. Okay, so I've put here 4 crystals that I think could work well as seed crystals. So you want to pick the crystals with the smoothest shape. And if you've got a crystal like this, which kind of has a little bit grown on the side of it, you can just break that off so that you can get a nice crystal shape. I've put 4 crystals that I think are good to use. So you want to pick out the crystals with the nicest shape and that look the cleanest formed. And if they have any like smaller crystals growing off them, then you can just break those off until you're left with a nice crystal like this. And I'm going to show you what you do next. Okay, so I've put my crystal I'm going to use here, and also what I forgot to say earlier, but basically when you've left this to sit for a week and your crystals have formed on the bottom, when you pour it out, pour your solution into another jar and then leave your crystals at the bottom. So now, onto this crystal. What we're going to do with this crystal is suspend it in the original solution using a piece of thread. Now if you have thread at home, then you can use this to tie it. If not, I've only got string, so I'm going to take a piece of thread from this string. So all you have to do is just unwind it and then pick at it until you can get it to separate like that. And then you want to pull it down, or pull whatever bit you've pulled off like that, and then you see you now have a small bit, and then eventually you can just get to one thread like this. Didn't realise how short that piece of thread is. I'm going to get another one because I think it broke, so I'm going to just unwind this a bit until I can grab a piece of thread, and then you just pull it down. Be careful not to break it. It will get a bit tangled near the end, and then it should come off. So this is a better length of thread. So now what you want to do is you want to just tie a knot in it. Can be a bit fiddly. You just want to take it, do a loop, and then pass the end over the loop, and then pull it a bit. So you have your knot like this, and then pull it until it's just bigger than your crystal. So maybe like that. Then you want to lay it down. Get your seed crystal that you're going to use to grow your big crystal off, and place it inside like so, and then tighten your thread around it. Now this bit, sometimes the crystal will slip back out, so you have to repeat it a few times until you get your crystal to stay. And if you want to, you can do a double knot on the thread, so then you just go back, tie it round again, and then pull tight. And if they're done 2 knots, that won't come undone. So now you take a pair of scissors and cut the excess off. Make sure you don't cut the knot. There. And then you have your crystal hanging on a thread. So now, once you've got your crystal, you want to take your jar that has your solution in that you poured off, and you want to take a stick or a pencil. Normally I use a pencil. That can balance on top. And then you want to tie your crystal to the stick or pencil. And then you can see you can hang it like that, and it's going to hang inside your solution. And if it's too, you don't want it to be touching the bottom, so if it's too long you can just roll it up a few times and then use a piece of sellotape over the top to hold it in place. And then once you've done this, you want to put this jar now in a cool, dry place where it won't be disturbed, so maybe a cupboard, or maybe just on the side somewhere that no one's gonna go moving stuff around or anything. And that will probably this will take longer to grow. So basically the longer you leave this, the bigger it's gonna get. So ideally you want to leave it about 3 weeks for it to grow big, and it should grow a big single crystal off this. Sometimes you'll get smaller crystals attached to it, but you just have to keep trying. So now I'm going to show you one that I made earlier. So this is one that I've had grown. As you can see, I followed the same steps, so I've put it around the pencil and I taped the pencil down to hold it in place, and then I just had it on the side of my, had it in the corner in my kitchen so that no one would be moving it. So now I'm going to show you how big it's got. This has only been grown for 2 weeks, I think, not much longer, or maybe even less. So I'm going to take the sellotape off. As you can see, that has grown a very nice, pretty much single crystal. It's got a few small bits attached to it, but if not, it's formed a very nice shape. And with copper sulfate, this is copper sulfate. If you use copper sulfate, this is the crystals. This is the shape your crystals will always grow. So as you can see, it forms a nice, I don't know what you call that shape, but it forms a nice diamondish shape. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how you seal the crystal, because you can't keep the crystal like this because the surface will go all dry and stuff, and you can't keep touching it because obviously you're getting chemicals on your hands, so then each time you have to go wash your hands. So I'm going to show you how you can seal your crystal so that then you can touch it, do whatever, and you're not going to get chemical everywhere. So I'll be right back. So my crystal's been here drying now, and what you're going to want to do first of all is cut off the string, of course. So you want to cut it as close to the crystal as you can. there. Oh, my scissors didn't do a very good job, but let me try another pair. Yeah, that was better. So you shouldn't really be able to see the string anymore, and then you've got your nice crystal like this. So it's not quite dry, so I'm just gonna wipe down the sides. Okay, so that's now nice and dry. So what you're going to use to seal this, it's very hard to seal crystals because they react with a lot of chemicals. So I've tried doing it with PVA glue because normally you can use that to seal most stuff, but it just reacts with the glue and forms a kind of slime stuff. So what you want to use is clear nail varnish. So you want to get some clear nail varnish and then somewhere to pour it on, because you don't want to use your brush unless you've just got a spare one. So you want to get somewhere to pour it on and a little paintbrush. So now you've got clear nail varnish. You want to pour some out. You don't need much normally. Okay, and now you can take your little paintbrush and your crystal, and then you can start just painting over the surfaces. And this will help keep your crystals nice and shiny. And of course this should dry pretty quick. That's pretty dry, so I'm just gonna put that down there. There you can see that's a nice crystal now, and now when this is perfectly dry it will be all sealed and you can touch it without getting any chemical on your hand. Okay, so the crystals I used in this, of course, I just filled a jam jar with the solution and just let the crystals form on the bottom. And if you leave them long enough, then all the crystals will join together and form things like this, where it's just lots of smaller crystals all joined together. So if you want to get that effect, then you can just leave your initial solution in the jar for about 3 weeks and it will form crystals like this. Now if you want to know how you can make crystals out of metal, yeah, you can do this with metal as well. You don't need to heat anything up much, and sometimes you can do it with electricity. So I'm going to show you all the ways you can make crystals like this. So this crystal is made of copper metal, and there's this crystal which is very nice and shiny, and this is made of bismuth metal. So I'm going to show you how you can make crystals like this in an upcoming video, so please subscribe if you want to see that. Here's some more of the bismuth metal, and here's another one made of copper. So if you want to know how you can do that, then please subscribe and that will be in an upcoming video. If you're going to try this at home, then please wear goggles of some kind and preferably wear gloves as well, or just keep washing your hands, because some of these chemicals can be irritants and cause further problems if they can get inside you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe to my channel.